Okay, good afternoon, everyone. And our most recent winner in NASCAR racing has joined us here, Jamie McMurray. This last week, won the Sprint All-Star race for the first time in his career, and comes now into the Coca Cola 600 weekend, looking for your first win of the season in a points event. Certainly would cement you a place into the chase. But just talk about maybe look back quickly on winning the All-Star event, and then now getting ready for the 600 race here on Sunday.
Well, that week's been it's been really busy. I got to spend Sunday with my family, and then Monday it was kind of all day at the race shop with a team lunch and doing a lot of media obligations. And then we left at 4:30 in the morning to go to Kentucky for the Goodyear tire test all day Tuesday and all day Wednesday, and got back somewhat early yesterday. And I'm driving home, and Kenseth calls me and is like, we're having a family get-together at his house. So I was over there till like 8 o'clock last night. So it's been really busy for me.
Well, that's good. We'll take questions now for Jamie. We'll start right here. I think Mike Embry had one second there, and then we'll go to Tom Jensen.
Mike Embry, USA Today. What's the wackiest phone call, response, text, whatever you've gotten since the win, and can you estimate about what time you lost the buzz that night?
Did I have a buzz? Nah, that's weird. I don't remember that. I didn't really get any wacky texts. I got a lot of really nice. I mean, I felt like my wife, Christy, went to a birthday party over at Casey Mears' house on Tuesday night, and she told me last night. She's like, Jamie. She's like, I think people were really happy that you won. She's like, Jeff and Jimmy and everyone that was over there. She's like, they came up and they were like, kind of harassing her, like, hey, what are you going to buy? But at the same time, she's like, I felt like they were really happy that you won. And so I thought that was cool because ultimately, for me, I only really care what that group of people think. The other drivers in the garage and the crew chiefs and the owners, ultimately I value their opinion more than anyone else's. So to see that they're really happy for me, that was cool. I got a lot of text messages, maybe 150 over the course of the 12 hours after the race, but almost everything was just really nice, really good stuff. People telling you the story. I loved going to the shop on Monday, and I can't tell you how many of the guys that work in our shop said that they were slapping their wife in bed, like, wake up, he's going to win. And I love that. I think that's great because that's exactly what I would have done if I'd been laying in bed with Christy. So I thought that was cool. The buzz wore off. I don't know what time. I went to bed about 4. And I got up at like 8, and I jumped up, and I'm like, I gotta get a shower so I can get home and go see my family.
Wow. Have you win the All-Star race again?
Absolutely.
All right, let's see. We got Tom Jensen, Bob Pockrass, Viv Bernstein.
Jamie, Tom Jensen, FoxSports.com. Even though we're going from a 10-lap shootout to the longest race of the season, do you think it's still going to come down to that final restart as to who wins the 600?
Well, yes, but I think it's going to depend on if the final restart is with 25 laps to go, it'll be different. It seemed like the other night in those 20-lap segments, when we got to lap 15 or 18, you could tell the handling was going away on some guys' cars. So if we get a longer run, I think you could see the 4 and the 5 car could pass last week. I think you'll see guys that can advance, but if it comes down to a 10 or 15 lap shootout, yeah, the guy that gets out front is going to be really hard to beat, for sure.
Thank you.
Bob Pockrass, Viv Bernstein, and Mike Solarte.
Bob Pockrass, Sporting News. Does Kurt doing the double have any impact on NASCAR? What do you think about, do you think it'll bring more attention to the 600 just because somebody is doing both races?
I think so. My take on what Kurt is doing is from a race fan. I'm a race fan, and from my perspective, I think it's awesome. I cannot wait to get up on Sunday morning, turn the Indy 500 on, and kind of watch Kurt's day. And then, we all can remember Tony did it and Robbie Gordon, kind of watching those guys how their race goes, them get on the helicopter. Kurt's actually flying on the plane that I fly on every weekend back down here, and then to show up and race here. So, I mean, I'm excited about it. So I hope that other race fans, whether you're an IndyCar fan or a NASCAR fan, that you're excited to kind of watch his whole day as well. I think it's really cool what he's doing.
Viv Bernstein, Mike Solarte, Brian Nelson. Go ahead, Viv.
Okay, Viv Bernstein, New York Times.
Sorry, you're hidden back there.
I'm a little low in this seat. You've had a couple months now to get used to this new system for qualifying for the playoff chase. How has it changed the Cup Series? Has it changed strategy? Has it changed, qualifying testing? I mean, what's different now this year?
Well, I think it's going to – I don't see a lot different from our take. To me, where the difference will be, and we haven't had this race yet, is if we get a race, because in order to take a chance, it has to be either on fuel mileage or tires. And we haven't been in a position so far this year where here we can go 50 laps on fuel. If the caution comes out with 52 laps to go, that's taking a chance. And I think that's where you're going to see guys take more risk, is in the pit strategy, and we just haven't been put in that position yet this year.
Mike Solarte, Brian Nelson, right over here to my man Ben.
Jamie back here on camera row, on your right. There you go.
There you are.
With the 600 miler, I mean, not everybody drives 600 miles. A lot of people don't drive 600 miles in a day, let alone do it with 42 other guys that are chasing the same thing. What do you do mentally to prepare yourself for such a long day? Because you're not getting the bathroom break, you're not getting the chance to stop off and have lunch like, guys driving across country.
Right.
Mentally, how do you prepare yourself going into it?
Well, when I look at the 600, I think back to when I was running the Busch Series and the first time I ran a Cup race. And you go from running 200 miles to 300-mile races to 500. And I remember running my first Cup race and thinking it wasn't as long as I was prepared for. And I think it's because you mentally prepare for that all day long or all week long leading up to it. And I've had this race kind of circled and somewhat dreading it. I love the 400-mile races. I think it's like the perfect length for a NASCAR race. But I also think it's really cool that we have this marathon of an event. The only thing that, other than mentally preparing for it, it's getting enough food in your system. It's really hard to eat on the track or do a gel pack or something like that. So when I think back to this race, it's always about just trying to get enough food in your system that you're not hungry or feel like you're getting weak or whatever towards the end of it.
Brian Nelson, Ben, Marty Smith, Pete Acabelli.
Brian Nelson, MRN. Jamie, I know this might sound ridiculous, but was there ever a moment since winning here last week, knowing it's the All-Star race, it doesn't help your chase at all, that you thought, man, I wish this would have been a points-paying race, and how would that affect your chase outlook?
Well, looking back at the way the chase format has been structured, I assume next year the winner of the All-Star race will be included into the chase. From my history, it seems like every year I'm a year behind on what's actually what next year is going to be. But I really don't. I'm not concerned with that. I am so excited to have won the All-Star race, and when I got home and I'm like looking at the trophy and thinking about all the big races that I've won, it's so cool to be put in that category. And as much as I'd like to win a points race to be guaranteed into the chase, that was huge last weekend for me and for Keith and our entire team. So honestly, I don't even think about that.
Over here to Ben, Marty Smith, Pete Acabelli.
Jamie, Ben White with the Lexington Dispatch. Can you look back at 2002 when you won here, when you filled in for Sterling Marlin, and just how that was a turning point for your career and how that worked out for you?
I honestly can't remember back to 2002. Things have changed so much in our sport and in my life since then. I remember those days mainly from pictures and some of the video. Like typically for the October race, they'll play like that highlight, right? And if I happen to be watching TV, I'll see that and it'll spark like a memory. But honestly, I don't remember a tremendous amount about 2002.
But it was a big turning point for you, right?
Well, it was huge. I hadn't won a truck race or a Busch race at that point, and I won in Sterling's Cup car filling in for him. So yeah, I mean, absolutely, that was huge for me.
Marty Smith in the back. You there, Marty?
Yeah, I'm way back here. You can't see me. Don't worry about it.
Pete Acabelli. Go ahead, Marty.
Marty Smith, ESPN. Jamie, if you can't remember, 2002, 1994 might be a big problem. We were in high school, but I'm wondering what you remember about Jeff Gordon's first career victory as a fan back then.
Yeah, so I don't remember that. I remember seeing, I've seen all the video footage of I think Jeff won his first race and was Kenseth as well. Isn't that right? The 600. So it's a really big event, I feel like, for rookies. When I told Kyle today, I'm like this could be a big weekend for you. This is a weekend that rookies win races. So I think that's really cool for Kyle heading into this. But no, I graduated in 1994, Marty, and I don't remember a lot about that now.
Graduated in 1994.
I did. Does that make you feel old?
Yes. Let's go to Pete Acabelli, Kenny Bruce. Pete, right here. No, Pete, Associated Press. Green glasses.
The other Pete.
That's right.
Pete Iacobelli, Associated Press. Jamie, talking about the chase, as we come to near the halfway point, is there any anxiousness that you don't have that win yet, that points win yet, and as we get through this new format?
Well, there's still a lot of racing left to go. When we've had really good cars all year, and certainly are not sitting very good in the points. But if you're in the position that our team is in, it's about getting a win and just getting locked in, and then the points are all going to reset themselves. So I don't think anyone. I mean, gosh, coming in here this weekend after winning the All-Star race, I feel probably better than I have all year long because we're coming back to a track that you feel have a good setup at. It's a good track for me. I think that the becoming anxious will be with the 4 or 5 races to go. Not necessarily at this point. It's a long ways to Richmond. There's going to be a lot happen.
Kenny Bruce, and then to Chris over on the right. Go ahead,
Kenny Bruce with NASCAR.com. Jamie, I want to know what's the oldest thing you do remember?
The oldest thing I do remember. I'd say it's weird. I remember my first go-kart race. I remember that day clear as can be. I remember everything about it. I guess I just remember I don't know why I don't remember. He kind of put me on the spot. If he gave me a little time, I could probably figure it out. I just can't right now.
Yeah. Do you pay attention?
No.
Do you notice what other teams not necessarily are doing, but just like if a team is winning, or running good each week, or another team is struggling each week, do you notice that, or are you just solely focused on your team? And if you do notice some of those things, what's your take on the first 10 or 12 races of this season? How have you seen that?
Well, I mean, I think everyone's paid attention to the 4-car this year. I mean, from the time we came here and tested in December or January when we were doing the spoiler and pan testing, the 4-car was the fastest car off the truck. They've been really, for the most part, the best car all year long. So I think everyone in the garage is paying attention to Kevin and Rodney, and you're looking at pictures, you're looking at their car. Everyone is eyeballing that, trying to figure out where the speed is. But I think that goes week to week as well. If someone runs good, everyone's on this bandwagon, like trying to figure out what that team's doing this week for the next. But that's no different than any other year.
Over here to Chris, and then to Dustin.
Chris, MyCatchmans.com, Jamie right here. You've done a lot of firsts for Chip Ganassi Racing. What did it mean to you to give Keith Rodden his first win as a Cup crew chief, and then also did Carter get his train?
What was the last part?
Did Carter get his train?
Oh. So it was really cool to get Keith his first win. I remember my days at Roush, and Jack at the Christmas party would get a trophy made for the crew chief for their first win and give it to him at the Christmas party. So I've been thinking in my head, talking to my wife, like what I can do for Keith, something that he would cherish and would like. And I haven't come up with that yet, but I'm trying to figure that out. And it's special just because Keith's won a lot of races and been a part of some really good teams. So I think that it's really gratifying for him to be able to do it at the top level that he's going to get to, being a crew chief. For me to get to be a part of that with him was really special. As far as Carter, I got to tell you, the most popular question this whole week, or since Saturday night with fans, has been what kind of a train did I get Carter? What would I get him? So when the race is over, I went back to my motorhome and took a nap, and I got up around 8 a.m. and I drove home, and I stopped at the McDonald's. It's about a mile from my house, and I got pancakes to take home to my family. I'm like, it's gonna be great. I'm gonna walk in. I'm like, I got the trophy. I've got pancakes. I'm like, I know Christy's gonna be excited. I know Carter's gonna be excited. So so I get out of my car, I open the garage door, and what I'm waiting for, like as a parent, is the moment that what Carter learned at Talladega was that you get on the door after you win and you scream this loud woohoo, right? Like it was great because he does it all the time now when someone wins. So at Talladega, actually this year, I got to tell you another part of the story. I crashed on lap 10, tore the splitter off my car. I rode around 500 miles at Talladega, 7 laps down, getting the lucky dog like every 15 minutes. Horrible day as a driver. Got out of my car, I walked over to my motorhome, I opened the door. Christy's at the couch getting our little girl ready, and I look at Carter, and he stands up on the ottoman, and he like puts his hands above his head, and he screams woohoo, and he's like, Dad, Denny Hamlin won. I'm like, that's not what I was looking for, Carter, but that's really cute, you know? So when I got home, I'm like, I can't wait to walk in. I've got the trophy, I've got these pancakes. Carter's going to come running down the hallway, he's going to scream daddy, and he's going to do this loud woohoo. So I open the door, I turn, he's running at me, and I'm like, just waiting, and he's like, you have my train? Like that's, I'm like, we'll go tomorrow, buddy. We'll go tomorrow and we'll get that train. So I think that's so cool that kids just say what's on their mind. It's awesome.
Final question, Dustin.
Dustin Long, MRN.com. Jamie, you talked about Kyle earlier. How have you seen his progression just at this point of this season? And I know, like you mentioned, that this race has got a little bit of a history with rookies winning, but what makes you feel like that he's ready to win at this level?
Well, Kyle's done a great job this year, staying out of trouble. I think one of the hardest parts for rookies is how you race people and how people race you. I think Kyle has done, well, I know he has. He's done a really good job of gaining the respect of a lot of the guys that have been around. It looked like he and Greg had a moment, maybe I saw the highlight of he and Biffle at, I think, Kansas kind of going at it, which is all part of being a rookie. But he's done a really good job, I feel like, with most of the guys, and I think he's gained their respect. So he's done a great job there, and he's had really good cars all year long, and he's done a good job if the car has gotten away from him in the middle part of the race. They, as a team, have done a really good job of getting that car back and getting if they don't get a great finish out of it, getting a good finish out of it. And I don't know. I mean, I just think that me winning last week, I think will help him confidence-wise, knowing that, okay, our cars are capable of winning. And, I mean, when you know that another guy has won in the car, and you feel like you're capable of winning, I feel like that's good for our whole organization. I know that's going to be good for him.